Right now, I have to stop saying.
Hey, he did it.
Oh,
See, and Luds, once again, you get thrown
I
under the
worked
bus.
my way into the show.
You're a part of it. Guess what? Training camp is here. We have started. It has begun. There's an argument. Maybe we should not have this now. Cold open. Did training camp start yesterday with media day? Formal announcements and remarks from Jim Nill and Glen Gulutzan. Did it start today because this is the first on-ice session? Either way, it's happening, and we're going to talk about it. Sean is supposed to be here. He will be. We'll talk about that. Then Sam's going to report from Frisco, and let's get it going. This is already too long. Go. DLS stars. It is Thursday, September the 18th. This is the DLS Stars podcast alongside Craig Ludwig. I'm Owen Newkirk. Our producer today is Ryan Vaughters. As we should say, we need to come up with, do we call him producer Ryan? Do we, like we did with John, or off-screen Queso like we did with Elijah? We need a
Rhino.
You like Rhino?
Well, Rhino. Remember Ryan Sandberg?
Yeah.
Anybody remember?
I mean, Hall of Famer.
Did he pass away?
He just did.
Yeah. Well, that's probably not appropriate now. Now that
Let's
I think about it,
associate our
maybe we
producer
should.
with somebody who just died. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Well, we'll work on that. Anyway, Ryan is producing once again today. We are going to have Sean on here as soon as he finds a new location in Pittsburgh. I think he got kicked out of his spot, so we'll see. And then Sam is going to join us a little bit later from Frisco as he's up covering the team. I was there this morning as well. Had to leave to get here. He's staying there, hopefully, to get Glen Gulutzan's comments today. But obviously, we're going to hear a lot from Gully in general. Before we get into our conversation about it, and Sean shows up, which he may be here now, let's talk about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. The shirt I'm wearing right now, as you can see, we are doing a big month trying to raise money and awareness for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. A great cause to help out, especially kids that are not of the best of circumstances in terms of their living situation. Maybe they need a little bit of help, and you could sign up to be a big to help a little. But in this case, we have the super chat button turned off. It's a Big Brothers, Big Sisters donation instead. If you can help, please do so. It's a great cause. And of course, we have a partnership with ALLCITY and Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So this is a year-long commitment, not just some flash in the pan for a week or two. In addition to that, we also have a merchandise sale up, and we're going to hear more about this from Luds later, and I can't wait. But right now, just a quick reminder.
I'm just going to say what he said. That's how I'm going to do it. Remember what Owen just said? That's what he said.
You just have to stretch that out over
Everybody
60
listen
seconds.
up close to what Owen has to say right now.
I'm going to save some details for Luds, but as you can see,
I don't have
our ALLCITY warehouse sale, 20% off just about everything. There are a couple of new items or newer items that are not on sale, but everything else, including a lot of your favorite Dallas Stars themed DLLS shirts, are on sale right now. So if you're a diehard, you get a little bit more out of that. Go check that out.
let's bring in Sean.
Let's welcome our third amigo here from Pittsburgh, Sean Shapiro. And Luds, you weren't privy to the joke that we had this morning, but Sean, did Sidney Crosby wink at you and tell you that he was coming to Dallas later this season?
Clearly, that's exactly what happened. Now, I did have to. The reason my spot got moved was because of they had to set up actual security screening points here since the Penguins are practicing today. So yesterday you could just walk right into the USHL games, and today now there's all of these security things. So I did just wave to our good pal Matt Dumbo, though. He was on the ice.
Nice.
So
you know what?
So
hey, Sean, you know what I think I'll do? Because I'm probably going to run into you this weekend. I might bring one of our DLLS shirts along. John, you can go rub elbows with Sid and tell him we got a little gift for him.
Yeah. You think that'll put him over the edge of, oh, well, I should accept that trade to Dallas?
Well, I don't think there's one to accept yet, but I'm just saying he could wear the shirt and Sean could get a little buddy picture.
It would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
I have one other thing for Sean about the Penguins that I want to bring up but not yet. But before you leave, Sean, we should talk about Marc-Andre Fleury because it's a really cool story. But let's get into the semantics of, did training camp start yesterday or today? Because officially they had fitness testing yesterday as well as all the media day stuff. And then they have the on ice today. We actually found out from Stars PR that they got approval from the front office to let you know that for the third straight year, Nils Lundqvist won fitness testing, finished first. How about that? R2 Huru, I don't know if you can find the R2D2 sounder in there. Yeah. He was second, and Alexander Petrovic finished third. And so I happened to bump into Petro as there's one of them.
And you know what? All of that you just said means nothing.
Right. No, it doesn't.
Means absolutely nothing.
Right. Like, because you can do the VO2 max on the bike, because you can do pull-ups or bench press or whatever, it's not necessarily making you a good hockey player. But I bumped into Petro, Sean, as we were going in to interview Otter and and Mikko Rantanen today. And he said that Matej Blumel was a beast in fitness testing. And he goes, so you start shipping them out of the camp, and then he moves up a little higher in the fitness testing order. Because I asked him if that's always been something he's been pretty good at, and he goes, yeah, but you have to start eliminating these guys that are the number ones on that. So that was fitness testing.
The other thing about fitness testing, too, is this is the last year it's allowed. Next year, and the changes under the CBA, they're not allowed to do the fitness testing to start camp anymore. So this was Nils will go into retirement as the fittest Dallas Star because next year in the CBA, they can't do them anymore.
Who do you think, was that a player's request in negotiations to not do fitness testing anymore?
Yeah, because I think players, it's the same reason there's certain things the players don't want used by comparison, right? Like it's the same reason if you go to an arbitration case, there's only certain stats a team is allowed to use when it comes to arbitration. The puck and play, for example, the puck and player tracking data, how far a player skates, how hard, how fast, all that stuff. You're not allowed to use that in an arbitration case. And so I believe it's more of a PA thing where it's one players wanted it. I think from a PA perspective, it's not the biggest thing for them to argue for or anything like that, but it's we get rid of that. That's another thing that's something that's we take away a data point that can be used against a player, and that's kind of why that some of that stuff gets removed or the PA. It's not the biggest thing on their docket. Obviously, there's much bigger things that they care about, but that's one of the things that I know players have been. Some guys aren't good. Like as Lud said, the fitness testing means nothing. So why does it matter to? Why does it even matter? Because some people you use it as a positive for some guys, but there's some guys you can use as a negative as a coach, and it's just it's getting rid of that data point.
Sean, so there's 1 year this is when technologies I think was starting to come around, and they gave you these heart monitor things, and then they could track your progress, and through their computers and all this kind of stuff. And they had called me like a month in. Said, hey, we haven't got any info from you. And I said, oh, man, I've been having a hard time I was playing ball. I was having a hard time, getting it on there. Well, we need to get some data. And I said, okay. So I took my little heart band thing out and put it on my German Shepherd. He ran around for a couple days, and they got their info. And they're like, man, you're right. That thing is screwed up. Well, don't worry about it. We'll see you in a few weeks. So,
man, you gave the system well on that one.
Yeah.
It's like the Seinfeld episode. Luckily, Sam's not on, so we can't. So we don't have to explain what that show is. But it's the one where Elaine uses like the 70-year-old woman's like urine, and like so she can't go on the trip because they're like, well, you can't. It's like, I'm sorry, you're not healthy enough to go. You have the health of a 70-year-old woman. So Lud's at least picked the right test subject to stand in for him. So the German Shepherd.
I've made the joke before. Told the story. I don't know if it's a joke, but my first function in pro hockey was running the pull-up station with the Elmira Jackals fitness tests. It was a gym across the street from the rink, because back then they didn't have a workout facility next to their locker room. They had to go to a gym, but it was close. You could walk to it. And I just gotten hired, and they said, hey, we need you to help run a station. So literally count the pull-ups and write down the guy's name. And there's this guy from Long Island, big, huge, muscle-bound guy, who just destroyed it, right? He did, 25 or something crazy. And I'll remember this other guy who was much smaller was like, well, this is stupid. This doesn't mean anything. Well, it turned out that guy was our leading scorer, the little guy, and the big dude couldn't hit the net to save his life. And that was the first time and only time I needed to know that fitness testing. Well, it's nice to see that guys put the summer work in and they're in shape.
Yeah,
But it doesn't mean anything for hockey.
Well, and like I talk about these guys today, they're all in shape. They don't know how to not stay in shape. They're doing this 12 months a year, so they take it more seriously than obviously we did a long time ago. So I think that's the last thing that you probably have to worry about with these guys coming to camp.
So
Well, in Luds, wasn't there? Luds, remember correctly, for most of your career, training camp first 4 or 5 days was literally about kicking guys' asses so they'd be in shape, right? Like there was just
that's
like there was
you
that
beat
was
me
part
to
of
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We got there. Our camps were 2 weeks long, and it would start in Montreal. And I I was scared when I was going there, so I worked out pretty hard all summer long, which didn't mean I was going to be hired and fitness tested. But we had to run. I think it was 2 miles to a park, or where there was a football field out there. So it must have been some high school or something like that. And then they had big speakers. They had 2, 4, 6 of them around the field, and the speakers would go off every so often, and you needed to be at the next speaker as it went off, or you could only be within a certain
In
distance
soccer,
behind.
they call that the beep test.
Okay,
So
so
the same idea. It's literally a endurance test of stamina.
yeah, but we weren't wearing a dress when we were doing it. We were in our regular stuff running around doing it. But and then you did all your weights and stuff like that. Then you ran back. That was before the first session. Then you did 2-a-days.
Yeah.
So, and there were only, there were 4 teams or, 2 groups. And so, so then you'd go 2 days and then you get like a couple hours off, then you come back for the next session and you're done. And you do that all over again. And then, but that was 2 weeks long.
The laughing.
So, and that's why when I first got there, when I first walked in to the Montreal Canadiens locker room, Guy Lafleur was sitting in one spot, Larry Robinson, Bob Gainey, Mario Tremblay, Flower, and Chris Nyland. So 3 of those 5 guys were all smoking a cigarette as soon as I came in before they were going to go for the run. I mean, it was just different times.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
So, Sean, I wanted to, while you were on, talk a little bit about yesterday's media day availability, which was first Jim Nill at the podium, followed by head coach Glen Gulutzan. And if it's not some people say that's day 1 of training camp because it's media day stuff. They speak, there's fitness testing, all that, and then they move on to the on ice today. It was definitely the ceremonial start to the season. And the big thing that stood out to me, and you heard the Jim Nill stuff, so I'm curious if you had any particular takeaways, was just that barring 4 injuries to players expected to be in the AHL, Luke Chris, Kyle McDonald, Cameron Hughes, and Chase Wheatcroft, who are all out for various lengths of time, there are no NHL injuries to start the season. We've had that happen before. I remember when he came in and said Stephen Johns was not going to be available to start the season, and that was a surprise. I remember when he announced that Corey Perry had broken his foot in, the captain's skates, which unfortunately happened again last week with LA with a knee injury. But it seems like Dallas is coming in from an NHL roster pretty darn healthy.
And that is unique, right? We look across the league. I've in Pittsburgh this morning, Kyle Dubas spoke here and announced a couple injuries there. I was at the Detroit presser on Wednesday before driving out here, and one of their top defensemen, Simon Edvinsson, is going to be out through, probably is dealing with a lower body injury through close to opening night. So being healthy in general, completely healthy, is unique in the league. It's even more unique for a team, and Lutz knows this better than you and I do, Owen, because he lived it, but it's more unique for a team that played as late into the season as the Stars did, right? Like, typically, when you play that late into the season, when your season goes in, starts reaching into late May and early June, that's when you realistically you're going to be hurt going into the season. You think like, hey, this is going to come back and bite us. It's one of the costs of success. October and September are going to hurt a bit. So the fact the Stars are relatively healthy, and it's just those AHL guys, that's pretty good. Now, there's a couple things, right? Like, I know Miro said today he's 100% from his knee. We'll see what that really looks like. We know Tyler Seguin's kind of career health path is a fascinating one to watch after the time he missed. But to go into camp with everyone available, to go into camp where everything's looking right, I think it's the best possible setup for a new coach in Glen Gulutzan, who's trying to figure all of this out and get everything together. And it's not, well, hey, like when he was messing around with combinations today and who plays with who and everything like that, it's not, well, we have to hold this spot for X guy who's injured or Y guy that's injured. They can just kind of play with it right away. So that's a strength for Glen Gulutzan. And I know Ryan has us to go to a break, so I'll let you do that.
Yep, let's knock out that first break, and we'll be right back with more about Miro, Lot from Gully, maybe even some line combinations, which Sean loves so much here on DLLS.
Well, here's a line for you. Branded bills.
Yep.
Those are hats. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. Looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd? Well, Branded Bills can help you there too, because they've got some of the best custom headwear around. Start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel that you're looking for and that you need. They have a partnership with 40 colleges as a part of their campus collection, including TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas. So head over to brandedbills.com and use code BBDLLS for 15% off. And if you missed it, there's 2 B's and 2 L's in that. That's BBDLLS. That's for 15% off. BBDLLS, brandedbills.com.
Thank you.
Just want to get them double B's and double L's in
I
there.
love it.
I was trying to get you up to the minute mark.
It's kind of a tongue twister if you ask me, but that's
didn't
okay.
Get twisted once.
I have a thing to tell you. I've told everybody this before, but Game Time is a phenomenal way to get tickets for Major League Baseball games. I've done it myself. Labor Day weekend, Fenway Park, Red Sox, Pirates. Why Pittsburgh? Well, because my younger son has weird choices in allegiances, and he's a Pirates fan. And so it just worked out that big-time Red Sox fan here, and we haven't been to Fenway in a long time. The kids had never been. Well, I went on to Game Time because guess what? Their prices were great, and I found tickets available that were the same as they were face value, but in a better location than I could find going through the team site. And so I did that. No surprise fees at checkout. You know exactly what you're getting. They're 100% authentic tickets. Easy to do. Plus, this is the best part. You can take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. If you download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code DLLS, you get $20 off your first purchase, which I got. Here, terms apply. Again, create an account, use the code DLLS for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, let's bring Sean back on the screen. Luds, I wanted to before we get into the player stuff, I want to talk to you about what he said about Miro, because I asked that question to Miro today and was front and center for it. But Sean, was there anything that Jim Nill said that stood out to you? Because I didn't come away from that other than, you know, I like listening to him. He's a very, very well-respected guy. Maybe a little bit about the contracts with Robertson and Harley, but other than that, I didn't think there was a whole lot else that he said that was breaking news.
Well, I had my own conversation with Jim about 72 hours earlier that I got personally way more from conversation-wise than the press setting. That's just a reality of how those things go. I mean, Jim is a very good, understands how to use the podium and say the right things to fill people's notebooks without saying a lot at the same time. So credit to Jim on how he handled that presser. That's kind of, I was, to me, one of the more interesting things was honestly the whole Glen Gulutzan and the kind of watching him in real time deal with the expectations of this job, where their ceiling has never been, I don't think there's ever been anyone who's taken over a job where the prior coach had as much success as Pete DeBoer did and then left and was fired, right? Like there's been coaches before where, hey, a guy won a Stanley Cup and then retired, or Harbaugh in 91. The coach wins the Stanley Cup in 91 and deals with cancer, obviously, and then Scotty Bowman steps in 92 there. So there's been times where there's been high expectations left before, but not where the one person was fired for reaching the Final Four 3 years ago. So Glenn dealing with that kind of expectation in real time and the public questions of, and I think there was a line about how it's not a failure, quote unquote, if they don't win the Stanley Cup this year. And it's just kind of trying to figure out how to handle that. It's going to be fascinating for me for him to watch all year of how Glen Gulutzan deals with the pressure of this job, where they aren't a better team than they were last year. I mean, they're a better team than they were last October, but they're not a better team than they were in March and April, right? So how do you surpass what this team was and take it the next step with all of that? So seeing Glenn handle that and kind of getting a taste for it, and it's going to be a storyline that's going to continue all season for him that I'm fascinated to watch.
So the answer that he gave Luds yesterday, he was actually asked straight up, is it considered a failed season if you don't
Yeah, and
win?
he gave the right answer because unfortunately, there's only going to be one team, right? And so, and a lot of things have to go right.
Which is what he said.
And the best
yeah.
thing that's going right now, early, is everybody's healthier. Nobody's missing any of this. So, and Gully, one of the reasons I thought, again, the right guy. He's learned so much in his career because he's been with some really good coaches, but more importantly, he's been with some really good players of the last 3, 4, 5 years. And he understands what the best players on the planet, how they go about their business and what they look like, how they act, what they give. And he's able now to be able to be up close and personal to those guys. And probably more importantly, not the game itself, but how they are away from the game. And I don't mean at home, I mean away from physically playing the game. In the locker room, the practices, how they approach it. And he's got players here that may not be the Dreisaitl's and McDavid's, but they're damn close to him. So, you can give references. Hey, this is how these guys go about their business. And when Gully talks about give me 1% more, that was more on the physical side of things. But as a matter of fact, I wasn't even going to tell you. But no, there's nothing. I didn't talk to anybody. I sent Gully a message this morning about 9:00, and I think because I heard what he said. I said I heard enough of what he said, and I had said it's the best opening thing from a coach that I've heard personally, and it's only because I know where he's come from. I know he's been around, and there was a piece that I liked, because I've been talking about this for a long time with people. He mentioned something about Jamie and your captain and being able to talk to your captain. Your captain brings you things.
Well, you set up Sean perfectly.
Well, but I've said this for such a long time, and that's a fine line as a captain, because it's happened to a lot of us. So you don't want to betray any players' trust or anything that they've done, but there's a lot of things that when you get to know your teammates, you can go in and say, listen, you can be harder on this guy because he can take it. Or it's the opposite. Listen, just let him play. We'll handle that other side of things. So I love that part about it. Obviously, your captain, whoever, has to be open to being able to do that. Some guys, I feel like I'm ratting on guys. But if you're in the situation that they're in, and they have enough guys right now that are in that situation, their window, the window is open, but for some guys it's closing. And the most important guys, it's closing. So you will be able to go, you know what, we need more from him. And yeah, you can, turn the screws a little bit more, or this or that, or maybe it's just, I'll handle it. I'll take care of it. Is that what you see? Then let me handle it. So the communication, I think, that Gully has learned is probably the most important, that he can go to the players, and he's got to get to know all of them, right? He's got to get to understand their personalities and what you can say, what you can't say, what buttons do you push to get with players, and you can find those kind of things out through your leaders.
John wrote an article for our website, alldls.com, this morning that came out about Glen Gulutzan's relationship with Jamie Benn. Just what you're talking about. You couldn't have set him up any better than if you had planned it.
I do my research.
I mean, you just know what you're talking about. But, Sean, it is really important, because that was the conversation that Gully said yesterday, which was about having a relationship where he can bring him stuff from the other players as the conduit between the players and the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie and Glenn go way back. They go all the way back to the first time Glenn ever coached Jamie was the 2010 Traverse City Prospects tournaments, where Jamie was I bored Owen so much that he jumped out of the conversation. I see where Glenn coached Jamie all the way back at a prospect tournament, and then in Jamie's first full year pro, the original plan was for Jamie to spend the entire year in Cedar Park with the Texas Stars. Actually, Glenn told me give me a cool anecdote how he remembers Jamie arriving in Austin with a U-Haul full of stuff at the start of that 2009-10 season, expecting to put it all there, and then he would be back after a week or two in Dallas, and obviously didn't appear again down in Cedar Park until the playoffs when the NHL season was over, and that was the only AHL games Jamie ever played. So that's right. Luds has, while Jamie needed playoff season in the AHL, Luds never needed the minors. I think it's important we mention that at all times. Luds never rode the bus, and the and so, but Jamie.
I did
Jamie
last weekend all the way to Nashville and back.
I know.
Welcome
coaching,
to it.
Though. That was a choice you made, though. That was not. That's different than being told by an organization to be there. So, but
Wait,
Jamie and Glenn also
you didn't have a relative fly you to Nashville, so you don't have to ride the bus?
No.
Okay.
No.
But that can happen sometimes, right?
I mean, relatives that have pilot's license?
Or somebody that wants to pay for a plane ticket.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyway, Sean.
Glenn has a ton of respect for Jamie. First, watching him early in his career close up, obviously both Texas and Dallas. And then they've maintained a close relationship over the last seven or 8 years, even when Glenn was coaching it across the league. They would talk a lot. They would communicate, not every single day, but in the off season and things like that. And so I think when Glenn steps into this spot, he has an instant, not justification, but an instant stamp of approval from Jamie. And we all know how much that Stars team will follow Jamie to the end of the earth. And when you have that right away, there's nothing, there's no kind of blockage, and there's nothing that's going to get in the way of, hey, can this new coach connect with this room? You have that conduit right away. And so a lot of times I've seen when new coaches kind of come in and have to work, you sometimes see they might not be on the same page for a month or 2 months, something like that. And sometimes it can completely derail a season. Because of Jamie and Glenn's history, I think there's such an opportunity here for things to kind of be fast-tracked and get everybody on the same page. More so, even though this is a good team. I think they'd be on the same page no matter who the coach was, because of how good this team is, but even more so because of Jamie's history.
The things that Gully said yesterday that I jotted down, he wants, and this was interesting, Leds. I asked him what he wants to accomplish in this preseason. Not just practice days, but in games as well. And he said he wants them to be playing instinctually right away. What does he mean by that?
So, and that's a process, because he wants them to play the game and basically don't think, but you have to know, and there's going to be a period because he's going to tweak some things. So what Pete has done with this group, he might not change a lot, because I know he probably doesn't want to change things from the offensive side of things because they can score goals. My guess is that, and he mentioned it, there's some things he wants to do differently in his own zone. So, but he wants them to play the game that they know how to play, instead of getting out there and you're skating to a certain spot and then you kind of, okay, what did he say I'm supposed to do? That's what he wants.
You're thinking.
Yeah. And that, honestly, that's what practice is there for. I mean, I'm doing it right now with our guys, and I try to explain why. Is because we did the same 3 drills with Hitchcock here every single day. And it got to be the point where it was so monotonous, but there was a point during the season where, boom, you don't think anymore. You know when the puck goes from there to there, which guys, you know where the other guys are going. And that's the hardest problem we have with young players, is that they have to understand that if you're a left winger, you need to know what the centerman and the right winger do, because you're not always going to be F1. Somebody else is going to be there,
right.
So you have to cover up. And that's kind of what he's talking about. Just play the game, play it at the speed that we can play it at, but know where you're going before you even start to go there.
Sean, I know you have to go in a couple minutes, so there's a lot that we can get to, but I want to jump really quickly since you're in Pittsburgh, because I think it's really cool. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to has signed a PTO. This is last week, but we didn't get to it in NHL News and Notes because we had other interesting conversations. But he's going to practice with the team next week on the 25th and then play parts of the preseason game on the 27th. I think it is. No, against the Blue Jackets. I may have typed the date out wrong. But what a cool way to send off a guy that's already retired. And he specifically said he's not doing this to retire as a Penguin out of respect for his time in Minnesota and maybe Vegas before that. But still, what a curtain call. This is a soccer thing, but they do this in the EPL where they have like a tribute match for a player that has retired. And they literally bring all these alumni guys and play a huge game But to me, what a great way to send off a Hall of Fame career.
What a great! I mean, it's about the only justification for having more than 4 preseason games is to do something like this. So great usage of that. Great usage of PTO. Before I go, because I got to go do my other job here, I was texting with you guys earlier. Earlier today, shout out to Jacob Fleming from the Dallas Stars Elite 14U AAA team. I was watching their game earlier. They got outshot 40-17 and won 3-1 in the game I was watching earlier. So Jacob Fleming. So
hey, Sean, you know what you need to do is you need to give a shout out, write an article about our goalie coach over there, Billy Pye, because in game 1 last weekend, us against Columbus, I was doing the show. I walk into the game. I look up. The shots were 67 to like 23, and our goalie Witt won 2-1. So Billy Pye, the goalie guy, is doing a good job with the kids over there. God, I'm gonna regret saying that.
You're gonna hear about.
Man.
Yeah. Well, Sean, enjoy the weekend. I know that Luds is joining you tomorrow in Pittsburgh, and then I don't know if we'll get a cameo on Saturday. I know he's gonna try to do the preseason game, but who knows? Who can say? Enjoy the rest of your time in Pittsburgh.
Who knows? See you later, guys.
All right, there goes Sean. We will have much more training camp talk next here on DLLS. You ready?
First, I'm going to try to talk about some shirts and jerseys out of the merch shirts that are for sale. Apparently,
this is what happens when neither Sean nor Sam
that's
are here.
ridiculous when they take these kind of days off. Anyway, things are on sale up to 85%, 20% off all City Warehouse sale. Items that are not included in the promotion. Well, anyway, I will tell you this. That top left up there, that DLLS sweatshirt, which we got a mistake last year. Right, we got the Philly ones.
There was a spelling error.
Yeah,
or is it Philly
no?
It said a DLLS in it.
It said Philly in there,
It
and
wasn't
so
supposed
somehow
to.
it came to us.
Yeah,
I wore that all summer long.
Did you?
Oh man, I'm telling you, those sweaters are awesome. I don't know how much they cost, but get 85% off. So I don't know what, and I still don't get to rip them up, tear them up with the little.
We're trying to explain to Luds that they designed some various. Dallas
the only thing that's good about
teams.
it is Packers. I mean, it looks like the Green Bay Packers.
I mean, Baylor is not that close to Dallas. It's in Waco. It's a couple hours drive, but it's close enough.
Okay, DLS, we got a group that's covering them here. Is that them?
Just the connection to all the college
So
teams.
it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm over my
You've
time.
done
so
your
go
part.
ahead. Yeah.
How about that? We'll have to make Luds do that again once he's used to it. I mean, the sweatshirt anecdote was fantastic.
Just go get a shirt for 85%.
Let's talk about Supporters Club for a minute. So you may have seen in the chat today, at the top of it, Dirk Ellard, welcome to MVP, signed up for Supporters Club. Well, that's a new thing, and as you can see on the writing there, yes, it's for people that are true sickos. Well, if you sign up to Supporters Club, you have special badging so that when you are in the chat,
special what?
Badging.
Okay.
See the little club badge, the SC little badge there in the middle of the big circle?
I'd like to know why it's called Supporters Club.
Well, you're asking the wrong guy.
Well,
there.
because isn't nobody else thinking the way I am? I'm thinking it's like a jock club.
You're thinking a little bit dirtier than I think.
Not dirtier. I mean, it's jocks.
This
is a sports show. Supporters Club would be jocks.
Remember?
Why isn't there a jock hanging there?
You ever see the movie Grease with John Travolta? Long time ago.
Yeah.
If you can't be an athlete, at least you can be an athletic supporter. And then she goes, "Oops."
Okay, I don't know. I don't remember lines.
Good line from the high school principal. Anyway, sign up. It's a great thing. You get special emojis and some extra content.
The Jock Club.
All right, let's talk about lines for a minute.
Okay.
Because and how they're going to be used. Because one of the things that Gully said yesterday that I wrote down right away was, okay, we're talking about physicality. He said, I'm not just talking about hitting. Talking about everything we do when he says he wants 1% more, from tracking to chasing people down, just so we have grit. We are, he said, a quote unquote, a pain in the butt to play again.
I was just going to say, you want to be hard to play again.
So it's not just about body checking.
So Darryl Ray, Razor, the Hockey Hall of Fame, Darryl Ray.
Oh, you have to now.
He has a great line, and it's about, he talks about wearing a wool sweater and trying to crawl through a barbed wire fence. Now, I don't know if everybody knows what barbed wire is, but we got footballs coming down. So
somebody's bored in the other room.
did Dak throw that? Because it can't be Jordan Love because it'll landed right in somebody's arm. So, but anyway,
it would have probably been intercepted, right?
So, what happened? And when you think about that, wearing a wool sweater and try to crawl through a barbed wire fence, you get hung up everywhere. So that's being hard to get through. So that's kind of what Gully just wants you to be. I can't say it any other way. Just be a pain in the ass every time you're on the ice. And that goes from Maverick Bork, Nils Lundqvist to Jamie Benn and everybody in between. He wants his team to be hard to play against and be in the face of everybody. And so when you try to, as an opponent, when you try to turn around, you get the puck, you want to start moving, there's somebody there. And it doesn't mean that you're going to run them over all the time. You're going to bump into them. You're going to impede their progress. You're going to slow them down. It just, you make the game difficult. At the end of 60 minutes, they're going, man, they just wore us out. And again, you're not going to win all those games, but eventually what Gully wants, you put 82 of those games together as close as you can. You take that kind of confidence in that it worked over the course of the year, hopefully, and you say, that's our game. That's who we are. And we've got the skill. We're just sprinkling some of that in it with our skill.
Right,
and
you're
our
not asking him to take the skill away. It's
no,
just,
not at all.
Just adding to layers to
Not
it.
at all. And I think where there may be some skill or high risk plays taken away, like I said earlier, exiting the zone possibly. You know what I mean? Where you're going to work pucks out and you work pucks in.
It's funny you say that because when Miro came to us today, I asked him about. I said, we've been talking. I said, there's these talks out there that maybe Alain Nasreddine didn't do everything he wanted to do, that he was taking cues from Pete DeBoer last year. And I said, do you think there'll be any differences in the way the defense plays? And he said, yeah. And one of the things he said was, I think you'll see some differences in the way we break out of our own zone.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
he didn't talk about man on man necessarily.
No, but there again, I heard Gully, and I agree with him totally. I mean, he said he's okay with some guys playing the offside
because of the neutral zone stuff.
But where it makes sense is the reason he talks about the neutral zone. Everybody's going to go, what do you mean by the neutral zone? When the puck is coming out of the offensive zone and it comes back into your defenseman neutral zone and you're regrouping, so to speak. Well, you're facing your defenseman. Okay, it's not exactly what he says. You got to think about it, what he's talking about. Now, if you've got somebody playing as offside, you're going back and you're getting pucks on your forehand, right? And you can turn to the middle of the ice and you can make plays.
You're saying a puck along the boards,
a left-handed guy that's coming back towards your goaltender. Your defenseman has it. You're going to receive the puck and you get it and you're on your forehand.
Yes.
So when you turn off the wall and look up ice, you're on your forehand.
Whereas a righty, if that puck is up the wall, they're catching it on their backhand.
And when you turn, think about it. When you turn, you're not on your forehand.
No.
You're on your backhand. So the only place you have to go when you're on the wall is you have to turn towards the wall, to keep it on your forehand. So there are some advantage. The other thing is when pucks are put into the defensive zone and forwards are tracking back into the zone, and if they're on their offside, they're picking pucks up on their forehand. Where normally they got to go down and pick it up. They got to get in. They got to stop on the wall. They probably take it from their skate and put it off there, or they have to take it on their backhand.
Did you pick up on it when Gully was talking about that? Pick up on the little part he said where he was suggesting that he wanted this team, the Stars, to hang on to pucks a little bit more.
Yeah.
Regroup, maybe
with possession.
Maybe not dump and chase as much.
Yeah. I don't think they did that last year.
You don't think?
No, a team that dumps and chases is Carolina.
That's true.
That team puts pucks in and they play a territorial
What do you
game.
think he means when he's talking about hanging on to the puck a little bit more?
Well, he wants them to make a play.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's all it is. And I think what he'll do is he'll end up having, like, again, I like numbers, and I say numbers all the time. I want people 5 feet away from 6 feet away from each other, not 30 feet away from each other.
You want puck support.
I want puck support better. So that might be, and that's when you're going to hang on with the puck. It's little chips here and there, or it's a little, 3-foot pass here. You got people coming to the puck all the time. And so you have numbers coming from your end all the way into the offensive zone.
You think we're going to see less of the high flip hand grenade clearances?
I would think that would be because as the playoffs,
that's like S's. He can do that with his eyes closed.
He's a precisionist. I don't even think that's a word, but
I like it.
Is it a word, precisionist? Probably not. Write it down. Somebody Google it.
I have no idea.
But he is, whatever I just said, he is, because every flip that he has, it lands right near the faceoff circle. So you know where to go. Everybody knows where it is. Now, as the playoffs went on and the end of the season went on, teams were picking that up.
Started taking it away a bit.
It didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And so, but what did they do? They kept trying it. Adjustments. And I think that's where, listen, Edmonton last year, whether it was Gully or Knobloch or all that coaching staff, they made adjustments. They changed the way that the opponent was. They took that away from Dallas. There were things that they took away. and then they changed in their defensive zone where they just kind of packed things in. And I guarantee there's Stars players going, we can't get to the net. But they kept trying it, and it just kept on not working. And as a matter of fact, I think Gully said something about, I don't even know what he said. I don't think he said they suffocated them, but there was something that he said that they did in their zone, and that was a tactic that they did. And it got them to the finals. So,
all right, let's talk about Miro for a second and the defense. Because Miro came out, as the scrum talked to him, and I actually asked him straight up. I said, was there a moment, an aha moment with your knee? Was it during the playoffs? Was it this summer? Was it now? Because somebody else said, how are you feeling? I said, oh, I feel great. I said, okay. When was the moment that you didn't think about your knee? And he said, well, after the playoffs, I took 3 weeks off. Then I started in my summer training. And he talked about long rehab and this and that. He goes, now there's no restriction. So he didn't give me the specific time, but it wasn't the playoffs. And I think that's normal because he came off the surgery. He played. It wasn't 100%. I thought he got better as the playoffs went along, but it still wasn't where he is. He's at a point now where, at least from what he's saying, that he's not thinking about it and it's not affecting his ability to do anything.
The word I would use is in the playoffs, I believe, and when he came back to the end of it, and maybe that process you're talking about, confidence.
Yeah.
He didn't have the confidence in it that he could do what he's used to doing. And for an elite player that can skate the way he does, that's his bread and butter.
He probably wasn't used to wearing that brace either.
Oh, of course not. No, everything that happened, he wasn't used to because that's never happened to him before. So when you have any player, but especially your elite players, they have to be 110% from the neck up. And for him to be confident and be able to say, I'm good. And he is good, because otherwise he wouldn't say it, because now he puts himself out there and says, I'm good. Now, there's always going to be a little piece in there. Do I get a little bump, and can you tweak it? And I'm sure every doctor